Hello, everyone. Welcome to Parts Hold. You may notice that Coach Cliff is not on the virtual Zoomy Zoom, and he's sitting here in person. That's because he is in Los Angeles with me, which I don't know if you've noticed, he's taken on a little bit of a Hollywood persona, if you will.
I say when in Rome, do as Rome, and when in Hollywood, do as those in Hollywood.
You know that people in Hollywood don't always do the acting, right?
No, there's nobody, but I haven't seen anybody walk around with just like that whole look.
Yeah, like Brad Pitt's not walking around.
Yeah, I mean, but I felt like I should do it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, you look
Did it
great.
work?
You're a celebrity.
Okay.
It's fine. I understand.
Great.
But yeah. So, what do you think of this week? Are you pretty excited?
I'm absolutely stoked to be here live. Number one, to be back in the office. It's kind of, I would say, coming home.
For sure.
You know,
Yes.
It feels really good to be with everybody. You know, we're gone so much. We work so closely, but we only do it by Zoom or by phone. So to be in the office live feels really, really good. It's just good to be around the people that you love and they love you. It's no different than going home after a visit in a store and you're home with your family. So this is like being a little bit of a family reunion, I guess I would say.
Yeah, I think that the other thing that happens when we're together, you recognize just how special the team is.
Yeah.
And how much they care about the clients. And we have conversations about, like, we are those people that when we get together, we talk about work.
Yeah, but we also have so for me, it's a little bit of the iron sharpens iron thing.
Mm-hmm.
We just take a lot of things away from each other. We've done some training with the team, and it just feels good to pick up on other things that are going on out there in stores and hear the results that we're getting, and just get better.
Yeah,
It just
it's
feels
the power of the community.
Yes,
so
for sure.
That's pretty awesome. And then we're super excited for our topic today, which we're going to get into in a second. But tell me how we came across this.
So we came across it. We have a Facebook group. If you are listening to this for maybe the first time, or you've been listening to it and you don't know about the Facebook group, you need to log on Facebook and look for Parts Hold.
Creatively, the Parts Hold Facebook group called Parts Hold.
Yes. Yeah, and there was some intention behind that.
Yes.
For sure. But in scrolling through there's a lot of great feedback and a lot of great questions, and a lot of people are asking questions. And I ran across one that kind of hurt my heart a little bit. And it just made and reminded me of my kind of early on training, so to speak, or lack thereof. In every facet of the industry, we just don't do a good job of helping folks elevate to the next level. And so this question,
even at the highest level, right? Like it just that kind of just rolls all the way through the dealership at the end of the day. But yeah. So what was the question?
The question was, I'm brand new, just took over, and I don't know what to do.
So new parts manager thrown into the deep end of the pool. No little swimmies like we have on little kids. Like it's a sink or swim thing.
And based on the question and in the context of the question, it felt as if the person is probably young and could be young in age or young in the business. I'm not saying either way, but they were certainly very young and new at it. As best I remember, they had not even been in the business a very lengthy time, and so everything's brand new to them. And if you thought for just a second about when you first got into the business and how new it was, and
it was a whole different world. I feel like I learned a new language almost. It was pretty crazy.
Now, I grew up around cars. My grandfather rebuilt cars. My uncle owns his own upholstery shop, and so I grew up around that. But going into the dealership world, it was completely different.
Yeah.
Like none of the stuff that happened in Pop's garage was happening in the dealership other than wrenches turned and
sounded the impact gun and all that stuff,
all that
right?
Stuff, the smells, some of the smells are very much the same. But so I kind of wanted to address that is, what do you do when you're brand new?
Okay.
And what does it look like? And I wanted to do it at a very basic level because I think sometimes, especially if we've been in the business for a very lengthy time, and someone asks us a question, we tend to go really, really deep. And so understand that if you have been in the business for a long time, I'm hoping to give you something that maybe you haven't thought about and that maybe you can use as a mentorship to another person. And then if you are in the business now and you're looking to go to the next level and what the next steps are for you, I'm hoping to give you a couple things to take away that you can get refreshed and renewed and kind of understand what it is going to take to go to the next level.
Okay, great.
Fair enough?
Yeah. So how are you starting this list?
So number one, I want to say that the comment was made once this person asked the question. There was a response made back towards it. And I'm sure it was in jest, but it's one of the things that we kind of teach in the industry as a whole and in various different things, but it is the term fake it till you make it. And I find that to be a little bit offensive in a lot of ways.
Okay, maybe you need to explain that.
Yeah, so
you're offended when someone tells you to fake it, that the advice is to fake it.
Yeah, the advice is to fake it till you make it because it's terrible advice, number one, and it's a terrible way to go through life is to fake it till you make it. I'm not ashamed to ask questions of something that I don't understand or I don't know the answer to. I simply want to be better, and faking it till you make it is not going to get me there.
Yeah, but what do you think causes people to do the fake it till you make it?
I think that they're ashamed in a lot of ways. To some degree, there's probably a little bit of an imposter syndrome that they're scared they're going to get exposed to something that maybe they don't know the answer to, or ask a question that they don't know the answer to, or do something that they're not sure how to do. So I think that that's the fear, and maybe there's a little bit of shame to that.
Well, I think that it's all about the environment that you keep, right? So if you're in an environment where you're not free to ask questions or you're expected to know all the answers without having any experience, then that's what would lead you to the fake it till you make it, because it's self-preservation. Like it's not terrible advice depending on the environment you're in. So I think that finding an environment where you should feel, encouraged to ask questions and not expected to be perfect the first time out, I think that's probably more the right response to fake it till you make it.
Yeah, well, and I think of it too from a standpoint of if I'm brand new in a spot and I say, well, I'm just going to fake it until I make it, versus going out and doing some research and getting some real training.
Yeah, self-education.
Another aspect of that is we have a community here that you can ask questions, and we would love to answer your questions, whether it be on the Facebook page or by phone. We would love to answer those questions for you. So if you have questions, kind of free thing here that you can reach out and ask us a question. We would love to answer those questions.
Yeah, we do have a line that we share with Service Drive Revolution. It's 8333 ask SDR. 8333 ask SDR. But yeah, feel free, send us a message. What do they call them? DMs these days? The kids are calling them DMs.
I like that. The kids are calling them DMs.
But you can call and leave us a message. But we're here to help the industry.
Yeah, I just want them to get to a level where they have a freedom and they have a platform that they can ask questions, get some real answers, and
even if work isn't that freedom. Okay, I like where you're headed with this. So Cliff's advice, if I can speak Cliff to everybody, is don't fake it till you make it. Try to find an education so that you don't have to.
Yes.
I did okay?
100%. So number 2 is a reinvention. You're going to have to reinvent yourself.
Kind of like when you come to Los Angeles and you wear sunglasses when you're filming a podcast.
But I think of, there's different things that I could throw in there. What's the thing that stands out in my mind with this is everything that's taken you to the point that you're at. All the things that you've done, all the good things that you set up, all the processes and systems that you have in place to be whatever is not going to be the thing that makes you successful at the next level.
Yeah, so you gotta learn a new skill set.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, right? So I was thinking about it like this: the easiest way to explain this is that the thing that got you promoted to parts manager was that you were an amazing counter person, that you were really good at looking up parts, that you always ordered the right thing, that you got things to the technicians the way they're supposed to. You're really good at managing wholesale, returns, cores, all that stuff as a counter person. But when you get to being a parts manager, then there's that human element that's thrown into it, right? As a parts counter person, you're not managing other people, but the parts manager, actually, that's the human on human interaction. I think that is really a big thing. But if you just manage to the system of the parts and don't take the people into the consideration, you fail because your people don't know exactly what to do. It's hard for them to follow you.
For sure.
So there's the human element that you have to learn. Otherwise, you'll be a glorified counter person because you just have the parts manager title.
And the other piece that I think about too there is, if you are a really good counter person and you don't reinvent yourself or don't figure out how to manage the people or manage the department, you get trapped in doing the same things.
Yeah, because there's comfort in it because you know how to do it.
So you gravitate towards the comfort area and the path of least resistance instead of doing a thing where you kind of reinvent yourself. And there's tons of examples out there of reinvention.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, you had to reinvent yourself to become a coach.
Yeah,
right? And then more recently, you've reinvented yourself as you're starting to travel around and go to the parts departments. And actually, you're kind of out of the service thing and really focusing on the parts thing in those instances. So that's a reinvention, because if you approach it like it's a service department, it's not the same. It's not the same animal.
Not
so.
Oh.
Yeah, we developed that whole other plan for what we're doing, which is a departure from the normal Chris Collins stuff. So,
yeah.
But it's fun to watch. I think the reinvention sounds scary, but when you do it and you just embrace it and have fun with it, it's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, I think Chris even talks about it multiple times about kind of reinventing yourself, even down to the path you drive to work, maybe the car you drive, the clothes you wear, your hairstyle, which is going to be a tough one for me.
Yeah, his big one was that he moved. Like, he felt like he was in a rut. He actually moved from downtown Los Angeles into West Hollywood.
Okay.
So, like, it was that much of a thing that he was trying to shake up the foundation. Right. So, I think you shouldn't have a lot of limits on that.
Sure. The other one that I have a hard time with that I don't know that I could do is music. There's certain music I just don't want to give up.
I don't think you have to give it up, but I think that the thing would be is maybe you make a thing where you try a different kind of genre of music to listen to it every day that you've never listened to before. Not saying you have to like everything, but there's certain things like I'll listen to we were just in the library listening to gospel. Yes, it was actually pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that's my first choice, right? I'm going country or grunge, but it was really nice to kind of branch out and listen to that, where I could have just said I don't do gospel, right?
Yeah. And so the other thing that I think about with that too, and reinventing yourself, is depending on what you're doing is the way you feel. For example, certain music for me, if I'm listening to Frank Sinatra, I want to dress differently.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
I don't want to wear flip-flops, t-shirt, and shorts, which is what I would normally gravitate towards. I want to dress a little bit different because I feel a little bit different. The music gives me a little bit different feeling. So that's kind of, it's a really, really abstract way of looking at the reinvention of yourself. But to a degree, that's what we're talking about, is completely reinventing yourself and trying out new things without a judgment there.
Okay, good. I like it.
Okay. And the last thing, again, some of the comments on there were stated in jest and stated out of lightheartedness. But when you really think about it, we're not teaching the younger folks what to do, and we're not bringing on the younger generation rather. But one of the statements there in response to this person that was asking what to do, taking over the department for the first time, was someone said, "Get a big bottle of Tylenol."
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, and then so there's going to be tons of headaches and heartbreaks and issues. And I think what I would like to say to this person, like if I could talk to them individually, is it doesn't have to be that way. And that's your choice.
Yeah, you can say it's going to be a headache, or you can try to figure out solutions and what can you learn from what's already existing and then try to make it better.
Yeah, I want to set up some systems and some processes of my own that I can have a day mapped out and organized that I don't have to reach for the bottle of Tylenol every time. That's the better way to look at it, is establishing a path and a system and a process that will make my life easier, that I'm not reaching for the bottle of Tylenol because everything's a headache.
Yeah, you know the other thing, you know the main reason why people do the Tylenol thing? It's because they don't set proper expectations. So they expect things to be way better than they actually are, and then they get in there and everything's a mess and they've got to fix it. Well, I was thinking about it this way. In most cases, when you get promoted from one position into being a manager, it's not because everything was going awesome,
All right.
right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, the chances are that person would still be there. Now, maybe you get into a situation where you're promoted because someone retires or something
Right.
like that effect.
Yep.
But a lot of times there's a management change when there's a problem. So what I would do is actually I go the complete other direction. I would assume that everything's messed up and be pleasantly surprised when something's good.
Right. And approach it in a different manner.
You have way less headaches that way. But if you're going in expecting that things are not going to be easy, then you aren't severely disappointed when it's not.
Well, I think even one of the things that I remember doing early on was, and I would again date myself a little bit, but do you remember Franklin Covey planner system?
Vicky still uses the Franklin Covey plan.
So I think it's a great thing to do that helps you organize your day. And if you can't organize your day or you're not sure what to do, I always like writing things down because I like to be able to mark them out. It made me feel.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're going to have to give context to some of our viewers because they've never heard of this before. But
Yeah.
the Franklin Covey planner was a weekly, daily planner that you hand wrote in the dates and then the activities that you're going to do. And essentially, every day you've got a new task list of things that you have to do. Now, it's super archaic when you look at it from the outside, but from the inside, it keeps you really, really focused on what you should be doing every single day. And it takes a little bit of discipline to write in that thing every day. But whether you're using a spreadsheet or a Franklin Covey planner, the key is that you've got a game plan of how you're going to win each day.
Yeah, that there's some kind of system. I just remember a lot of the senior parts guys that I worked under early on in my career always had a notepad in their back pocket.
Yeah.
And so when something was said, they pulled that notepad out and wrote it down. And a gentleman named Richard that worked and helped train me and mentor me.
Did you shorten his name to Rich or Rick?
No, he was very much Richard. He was very adamant about that. We could tell some funny stories off camera. Don't think they're appropriate from here.
Got it.
And as we were stated the other day, we have to ask if it's appropriate.
I'm told no a lot.
It's probably not appropriate, right? But he would take off the paper and stick it into a small box. And so he could always go back on his notes for the day before and be able to look at it. So I thought that was super cool. I'm sure there's technology out there that has that ability there. Your notes in your phone is one that think of right away. And that's always readily available because most people have a phone on them now. But whatever the system is, whether it's a yellow legal pad or an actual planner or a spreadsheet or your daily task list in your emails, whatever it is, it makes life a lot easier to start writing things down. And again, for me personally, I love to be able to mark things off and I can give myself a win or a loss for the day. And then I knew if I was moving things over by Friday, if I had the same things on there as Monday, unless it was something long term, by Friday, it was a 5-alarm fire that I had to get that task done.
Great.
Get off my list.
I love it. All right. Well, why don't you recap this list? So this is the 3 tips for a new parts manager.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
So number 1, don't fake it till you make it. Get some real training. Number 2 is everything that you've done up until this point will not take you to the next level. You're going to have to reinvent yourself. And then the last one is do not invest in stock for Tylenol. Build yourself real systems, real processes to go throughout the day. And the last thing I want to add is one more time, if you have a question, please reach out either on the Facebook page or by phone, 8333 Ask SDR.
I love it. Well, let's go. Let's go have an amazing time at Top Dog. And for those of you that are on your way here and coming, welcome. And we will see you all next time on Parts Hold.
Here to fill the order.